Chapter 19, Chapter 143, Sunday morning. JJ's POV. And what? Do you go to church, and what? I asked. CN when he came out of the bathroom. And what? I've only been once. Really? Someone just invited me. Today, and what? He replied. I already knew. There was no need to ask. The name was definitely Rocky San Diego. I looked at my cell phone when I heard it ring. Yuri calling. I quickly left the room. I didn't want CN to know that Yuri was calling. Who knows what he might think. And what? Hello, and what? I answered in a near whisper. And what? Are you busy, and what? He asked. And what? Not at all. Why? And what? And what? Let's go to church, and what? I glanced at the bedroom door. And what? What? But. And what? And what? Great. I'll pick you up in 20 minutes. And what? He said and abruptly hung up. Rude. He and Kiefer were really alike, both always hanging up. Without warning. Why did I have to go to church? I needed to get out of here before I was caught. I went back into the room and sat on the bed, pretending nothing had happened. And what? Do I look okay? And what? CN asked. And what? It's fine. And what? And what? That's my bae. And what? He said smugly. And what? Are you going to church or a fashion show? And what? He scratched the back of his neck and snorted. And what? Going to church. And what? And what? Just go. You look fine. And what? I said, annoyed. Go. Already? A few minutes were wasted talking to him. And what? All right, I'm leaving. And what? He finally said, checking his wallet and phone. He walked toward the door. I thought he was leaving, but he turned back to face me. And what? Are you sure? I look okay? And what? He asked again. And what? Yes. You look great. And what? I shouted. He grinned foolishly. And what? I knew you'd say that. And what? He said with a wink. I threw a pillow at him, but he dodged it and slipped out the door before it could hit him. Once he left, I slightly opened my bedroom door and listened. I heard him saying goodbye to Aunt Gemma and Tito Jolts. He's gone. I immediately ran into the bathroom and took a quick shower. I dressed in record time, throwing on a pair of jeans and a t-shirt. I was in a hurry and didn't have time to pick out an outfit properly. I ran out of my room straight into the living room, where Aunt Gemma greeted me. And what? Jay, where are you going? And what? And what? To. Sim. And what? And what? Ma'am, someone is outside waiting for Miss JJ. And what? The maid interrupted. That must be Yuri. And what? Who is? And what? And what? I'm leaving. Aunt. And what? I shouted. And ran out before she could say anything. When I stepped outside the gate, I stopped. I suddenly felt self-conscious about my outfit after seeing Yuri. He was dressed semi-formally, while I looked way too casual. Should I go back and change? And what? Jay, and what? He called out when he saw me. And what? Shall we go? And what? I glanced down at my outfit, then at his. This was embarrassing. And what? I should change first. And what? I said, about to head back inside, but he gently grabbed my arm. And what? It's okay. You look perfect to me. And what? He said with a smile. Red heart. I didn't say anything. He walked over to his car and opened the door for me. Oh wow. A gentleman. Not like someone else. So, highest. Don't think about him. Bad thoughts. Yuri got into the car and started the engine. I wondered where he was taking me, but we soon arrived at the nearest church. I hope Cyan isn't here. And what? Are we going to church here? And what? I asked, looking at the building. And what? Of course. Don't you want to? And what? He asked as he parked the car. And what? Not really. I just expected a Buddhist temple. And what? He raised an eyebrow. And what? Because you're Japanese, right? Japan is mostly Buddhist. And what? I added. He suddenly burst out laughing, even hitting the steering wheel. And what? What year were you born? This is the 21st century, Grandma. Catholicism is widespread worldwide. And what? He teased. I blinked in surprise. And what? How was I supposed to know? And what? He just shook his head, opened his car door, and stepped out. I followed suit. He waited for me to get out properly, and we walked into the church together. There were quite a lot of people. I tried to look around to find Cien or Raki, but because of the crowd, I couldn't see or recognize them. Yuri suddenly grabbed my hand and pulled me. And what? Here we are. And what? In the middle, we took a seat at the end of the long bench. And what? Okay. And what? I asked, surprised. And what? It's okay, right? Maybe you can let go of my hand. And what? This is crazy. We're already sitting, and he's still holding my hand. He liked it. He looked at our hands. I was about to pull mine away, but he just smiled and tightened his grip. Red heart. And what? Hey, are you clinging? Or are you stuck? And what? And what? Just give it to me. And what? He said at the same time. I shook my head. And what? Don't act like that. It doesn't suit you. And what? He leaned in closer. I knew what he was about to do. Suddenly, he gave me puppy eyes and pouted. And what? Doesn't it suit me? And what? He asked. I was about to laugh at his expression, but someone beat me to it. I turned to see a group of women watching us and giggling. Oh, so you want to be close, huh? Yuri suddenly sat up straight and looked ahead, his expression turning serious as he let go of my hand. And what? What a waste. This is your fault, JJ. And what? He said. Wow. And what? Why is it my fault? And what? I asked, laughing. The number of people inside the church had increased. Suddenly, a loud feedback sound came from the speakers. Someone spoke, and the mass began. As I listened to the priest, I couldn't help but glance at the group of women who had laughed at Yuri earlier. They kept looking at us, or rather, at Yuri. They whispered and giggled among themselves. Really? Did you actually come here for mass? I lightly elbowed Yuri to get his attention. And what? Why? And what? He whispered. And what? You have a fan club? And what? I answered, as the group of women snorted softly. He seemed to understand right away because he glanced at them, too. And what? Ignore it. And what? He said. I did as he said, but it was hard not to notice their actions. Now I was the one they were focusing on. How did I know? They kept looking me up and down before laughing. Oh, come on, bad timing. We're in church, for heaven's sake. Forgive me, Lord. I'm a sinner, a sinful creature. Immediately grabbed Yuri's hand. Holding hands, ladies. He was slightly surprised but let me do it. I thought that would stop them. But nope. They were still whispering. What is wrong with these people? I couldn't focus on the mass anymore. And what? Jay, and what? Yuri called me. And what? Is something wrong? And what? I motioned for him to lean closer. He did, and I whispered. And what? Look at your fan club and then laugh. And what? And what? Why? And what? And what? Just do it, and what? He smirked and glanced at them. Then, he suddenly giggled, causing the people across and beside us to look our way. And what? Behave yourself and what? I whispered again. And what? Sorry, I couldn't help it, and what? I really shouldn't be paying attention to them. This is embarrassing. So annoying. I tried to ignore the other group until it was time to receive the wafer. As we stood in line, fate played its tricks on me. The group of women ended up on the other side of the line, right next to us. Seriously, they kept making cute gestures at Yuri. And since they were behind me, I couldn't even tell if he was responding. Suddenly, I lost my appetite. This is ridiculous. I stepped out of the line, leaving Yuri there alone. The shameless guy didn't even follow me. I refused to act cheap. We're in church. That's it. So annoying. I waited a few minutes in our seat, wondering if Yuri would ever come back. Eventually, he returned and immediately knelt to pray. After a moment, he sat beside me again. Then, out of nowhere, he cupped my jaw. And what? Say and what? Huh? And what? Come on. Open your mouth, and what? He insisted. Even though I was confused, I did as he said. To my surprise, he suddenly fed me a wafer. And what? This was meant for me, but I thought I'd give it to you, and what? He said with a smile. I didn't say anything. I was speechless for a moment. But wait, isn't it forbidden to give your communion wafer to someone else? Yuri really is something else. The group of girls from earlier completely disappeared from my mind after that. By the time the mass ended, he was holding my hand again as we walked out of the church. And what? Where do you want to go? And what? He asked me. And what? Anywhere. And what? And what? Are you sure? And what? I only responded with a modest nod. I had no idea what beautiful sights awaited us that day. And what? Even at a motel. And what? My eyes widened at his words. Some elderly people passing by also glanced at us. I immediately hit him hard. And what? You're crazy, and what? And what? Just kidding. Calm down, and what? And what? I'm going to kick you? Think properly. CN will be home later. And what? He fell silent for a moment, thinking. Then he checked the time on his watch. And what? Let's cook. And what?